Hey, I'm Sam. I live in this van. I've lived in it for 2 years. It's a 1996 Super Duty Econoline. I don't really know if it's an E350 or 450 because it doesn't have the labeling and it doesn't say it on your insurance. Let's go take a look. When I first got it, it was a utility van. So there was a fold-out table here with a microwave on a fixed shelf above. And then there was a big giant rack here. It was like a massive rack. It probably went to about here. The guy was using it for home renovations. I ended up taking the rack out. That was step one. And then I repurposed a lot of the wood. Like that's all the main like 2x4s that you see for everything. I repurposed his wood. I even took the table that's here and I put it on the back door and I use it for my outdoor kitchen. Yeah, I picked up this little fridge from a guy in Qualicum Beach. It was $50, but the encounter with the gentleman was just, that was priceless. Like I got so much knowledge from it. It was so fun. This is how I cook. It's brand new. I just got it from another one of my van friends. So I'm really excited to get to use it. I just have to move some things out of the way, but yeah, I'm super excited to use it. My cooking setup was very small prior to this. Before I used to actually just I used to have this here and I used to have like a single burner. You can still see like the hole coming out here. There's still remnants. The single burner I think is, oh yeah, it's right here. So it just kind of came out and then I had just this little piece of wood here to help keep the burner so it didn't wobble because I had spilled some big pots of soup and that was a train wreck. Okay, so kitchen cabinets. I ran out of paper towel. I was going to refill it. Sorry, bad game. I didn't for the video, but this was an interesting kind of way that it progressed to try and make sure that the doors stayed closed and that everything didn't fall out. I don't know if you can tell now, but majority of my dishes are plastic because I have slowly broken almost everything. I have, I think, one cup back here. I'm really proud of it. I've been cherishing this for years. I got this in Mexico. It's, you know, handmade, and I only have one left. I think putting these like pieces of wood in was the game changer. I was really excited about this. It's supposed to be for your garden to keep like raccoons and stuff out, and I thought it would help keep the glasses in, and it sort of does. But the piece of wood is actually these. There's magnets, and there's several kinds of magnets. If you look, there's like magnet here, or the metal plates, because I tried all styles and none of them really worked the best. This works. Locks and twists. Yeah, so that just kind of progressed. There was also a bit more cupboards, which I took out. I just one day halfway through a year in, I was like, this is too much weight. And I got rid of a massive chunk of it. I kind of said to a couple friends, what do you think if I got rid of it? They were like, yeah, go for it. It was a massive set of drawers and it was mostly all like Tupperware and junk. I think when you're downsizing, you really bring a lot more than you need. So I'm slowly getting rid of, I get rid of things all the time. I look at it and I go, man, why did I bring that? I haven't touched it in forever. Why do I live in a van? Rent prices in BC. That was, rent prices in BC. I had a dog when I first started and he was the light of my life. Precursor. I'm sorry if I cry because I do miss him and he was a big part of this. It's hard to find a place to live when you have a dog and he can be a bit aggressive. I knew I couldn't live in an apartment. I had already lived in a basement suites for most of my adult life. I really love van life. I had been watching videos for a couple of years. I had bought the van in January and then COVID hit in March. It all kind of flowed fairly nicely. It flowed fairly smooth. I really like these wire baskets because you can zip tie them together. So that's kind of how my van has progressed now as well. Once I realized that, you'll notice more wire baskets as I learned that lesson. And you can anchor them to the wall really easily. Like I just have like, I don't know, a circle hook and then the zip tie. I really love this. This has all of my pantry goods and it's super deep. So behind there is like my slow cooker, there was like an electric kettle, which I've slowly given away, because like I said, I give away a lot of stuff. But my massive soup pot and a bunch of other stuff. There's a massive cutting block with a ton of knives, which I'll one day also gift away because I don't need it. But and that thing is massive. It actually goes all the way to the back of my van and has a wine rack in the back and a corner shelf that has all my paperwork, which is, I've now noticed, a nuisance because I haven't gone back there, and as you can see, there's a tarp there. So one thing, when I got the van, it already came insulated. Like, there's already like a pink housing insulation, like the fiberglass insulation, so I thought it was good enough, and I just went with it. Turns out it needs to be changed. It needs to be waterproofed. There needs to be that like plastic barrier in between. So to anybody out there, like, don't skip that step. Like, you're already there, it's already empty. Like, take the time, take the money, and like do it right. Because now I'm gonna have to one day like gut it. So a big part of why I did the van the way that I did was because I wanted I had a kayak, one of the sit-on ones, and I kind of started with the kayak. I didn't want to put it on the outside of the vehicle because I wanted to keep it stealthy, and I didn't want to get stolen. I didn't want to worry about it and have anxiety. So I kind of started with this part. I don't know if you can tell from where you are, but it's kind of at a weird angle. It is not at all square or rectangle. It's literally shaped around the kayak because I wanted as much square footage over here as possible. So I kind of started there with the wood from the previous shelving. And then I got the cupboards off of Facebook. Everything goes in progression, though. It's kind of changed as necessity. Trying to use things that I find and incorporate them if I can for free. As you can see, I've got a lot of artwork or different sort of pictures and stuff from different places, so I wanted to display that as well. It all just kind of came together piece by piece. I'd say one of the main benefits is being able to get a healthier balance of life and working. Like, I feel like we have been so bred in the Western culture. I should use the term we loosely, but in the Western culture, we've been taught so much to just work and earn money and to pay bills, to be a cog in this wheel of earning and paying and earning and paying and earning and paying. And there's no living. There's no living in that. It really anywhere in that. I only work 4 days a week, so that's one other thing. Like, people ask, well, do you save a lot of money? And it's like, well, I do, but I don't. Like, I've made a lot of choices. Like, I don't work. I'm not a slave to a 9-to-5 job anymore. I only work 4 days a week. And that freed up a lot of time to go and explore the island and go and hang out with my dog during his last couple of years. It was really beautiful to go and get to explore the oceans and the beautiful forests here. And yeah, a lot of my van life is because of him, or it was, and I don't think it'll change. I think I've learned how much fun I can have. I've lost a lot of weight. I just, knowing that I lost him and knowing that it's going to be hard on me, I stepped on a scale for the first time in a while, and I found out that I only weigh 55 kilograms. That's big. That's a big change for me, because I think the last time I stepped on a scale and really recognized it was right before van life, and I was like 230 pounds, almost 250 pounds. I wasn't eating healthily. I still did a lot of exercise, but I was stress eating, and that's one big change. I've learned to have a lot more fun with my cooking, and I do intermittent fasting, and I walk a lot. Like, in my job, it's built in with walking and walking with my dog. I just walk all the time, and here on the island, there's so many beautiful trails, and that's one of the things with van life. You're supposed to be where you are, be present, right? Be in the place. Oh yeah, bed frame, mattress. This is just a standard double bed, with a regular metal bed frame. I was just like, why not? It'll fit. I already have it. But I didn't think about like the box spring part. Like, I got rid of the box spring, and then I had to do something with the slats. So I originally got slats from my work. I worked at a lease-to-own furniture rental place. And I originally got slats from there, but they were too warped. So I bought like just maybe a 1x2 or something like that, and I bought like a few of them and cut them up. And it's a project for another day. I want to screw them in because they do kind of move around a bit. Yeah, that's the only other thing. But yeah, it's really just a regular metal bed frame with a couple of posts that I just drilled the bed frame right into. This thing anchors the bed, so when we put this in, it was like the first big heavy chunk, and honestly nobody was really going to lift it out and lift it back in. And the height was chosen automatically by this. It was we kind of put it on, and the legs, you can't see under there, but the metal leg literally just sits right on there. So I didn't really have to do a whole lot of thinking. Challenges. I don't know. I don't know that it's not for the faint of heart, because temperature really does, you're more affected by the temperature outside, which I think when you live in a house, it's so easy to just turn on the heat or turn on the air conditioner or close the windows or turn on a fan or whatever, and get exactly what you want a lot faster. So maybe that's one of the biggest challenges. It's kind of like camping all the time. So if you don't like to work, don't do it. Disclaimer right now, if you don't like to work, don't do van life. You have to figure out where you're going to shower or how you're going to hold the water or energy, any sort of battery. You have to think about anything you want to turn on has a battery. How are you going to recharge it? Eventually that battery is going to die. How are you going to recharge it? That's one of my biggest things that you have to, that's one of the things that takes a lot of focus. I don't really worry about parking anymore. That was the first month of van life, I think. And I stressed out about it. It was one of the biggest things that I stressed out about before I moved into van life, but I don't even think about it anymore now. So the electrical all is hidden in here in the diesel heater. Okay, so inverter is just off of Amazon, random cheapie. I think I only paid like $200 for it. I went with a Renogy starter kit. I have 2 solar panels on the roof, and I have 2 batteries. They're only 100 deep cycle AGMs. They're not like fancy lithiums. So I do have a small, is what I've realized, a small battery bank, which is partially why I want to get the fridge wired in. It'll help save some stuff, and I don't really use the lights all that often. That's why I painted the roof white as well, because I can use the flashlight to reflect the light off the roof, and it actually gives me a lot of personal light. And then I've got this USB light, or it's just a little, I'm too far away right now, or too low to use it, but it's just a little light that I got on Dollarama, and it's actually pretty nice because it has a timer on there, so you can set it for 30 minutes, so if you fall asleep, you're not going to kill the battery. And it's only AA's, or AAA's. It works for, the batteries are really long. It's 2 sections of lights here. And then I have 2 more switches. I have 1 switch for both of my fans, and then I have 2 switches for, I put each of those 12 volt sockets, which I kind of regret now, but it's an easy switch. I just have the fuse box in the back there, and you can just switch a couple of things one day when I want to change it. And then I actually got this diesel heater a year ago. I'm pretty excited about that. It was really easy to install. I did it myself. I would definitely do it again. One of the other things that I did want to mention too is I built this, it just has magnets on the other side, and it's one thing that I did once I got the diesel heater to help keep the heat in. Like, not so much to keep it dark in here, but to help kind of separate the heat from the cab. Most people think because it's a big giant box, it's super, super hot. And yeah, average, but not as hot as that cab is. Like, you'd be surprised. Yeah, I guess I've learned that I'm a lot more of a earthy, athletic, energetic person than I give myself credit for. I think prior to van life, I saw myself just as like this overweight person that slowed everybody down. And now I know that I'm confident and capable. Like, I built the majority of this van myself. And I've had a lot of people come up to me and ask me about it, and they're very shocked and immediately impressed that I've done it all myself. And I think that's been a big confidence changer or builder, self-esteem bringer. If you're one of those people that's been thinking about it for a couple of years, jump in. Like, stop thinking about it and do it. Like, you've overthought it at this point, just do it. If you're fresh into thinking about it, yeah, like I said, if you're not for the faint of heart, like, don't. Go camping, be a weekender, talk to a lot of people that are in the van life community. Don't really share your idea with your friends that are closest to you, because they're just going to talk you out of it and make you think of all the negative things. They're going to project their negative thoughts onto you. So I would actually say don't tell the people that are closest to you about it, because they're going to be worried for you. And it's going to be hard for them to contain that most of the time. I would recommend it for the people that like camping and want to live minimally. I think that people that are used to instant gratification, like the electronics, if you need, I know there's a lot of van lifers that have gaming systems in their van, but like I said, that's not my style of van life. And to me, that's one of the biggest things that I think a lot about. Being in BC, we don't get a whole lot of sun, so solar, you can't really rely on it, so you're either going to have to plug in at some point, right? Or you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars on really good batteries. And I got into van life really cheap. My van cost me $5,000, and I wanted to own it outright. That was part of the reason why I got this van. And then I spent $1,000 on the solar panels, the flooring, and the batteries, and that's it. So $6,000 for van life. That's not bad, really, all said and done. I like van life. There's always a challenge, and I really like the challenge. Everyone asks. That's the main thing they ask about, right? Is where do you go to the washroom? Most of the time, other places, not in my van. This is only for number one. There is a separate section for water, and you could, like, the left is like a little pump action there, and it has like a flush sequence, but if you're carrying around the water, it's a lot heavier, and I just didn't want to deal with it, so I rinse it out with a Lysol spray every time, and then it just has this little, like, that's how you flush. It opens a little hole, and it lets your pee flow down. It's really simple. Sink. I have, like, I don't know if you could tell, but there's like some wire piping on the back wall here, because I originally thought, oh yeah, a sink, like that's what you do when you're gonna live in a vehicle, right? But I ended up, it was too complicated to wire in the pump. Yeah, sorry, my slippers are bugging. I couldn't wrap my head around this, and then I found this for like super cheap on Amazon. It's USB, the old one, not the new fancy one, and I barely ever charge it. I've lived in my van for 2 years, and I've charged this thing twice. Like, that's it. The only time it's ever annoying is when I need like 8 cups of water, and I usually just take that off and like pour it out, right? Because then it's a lot faster. And I can fill up this jug for free at most gas stations. But this is my creative cupboard, the lower part. It has all my journals, all my like felt markers, all my notepads. I'm a person that has like a gazillion journals, and shout out to the 90s kid in me. I have some comics in here that I still pull out on a regular basis. The top is basically all dedicated to like big giant tools and stuff. Like, I have my metal detector in here. I had an old AC heater, but it doesn't work anymore, I think, from how it jangles around, so eventually I gotta get rid of that. This other side is all decked out to cookbooks. This side is more like my hygiene, so it kind of goes bathroom back in this corner. So back there's like women's stuff, like makeup and hair straightener and all that big kind of clunky stuff. And then here again, like every 90s kid, I gotta have my perfume and my Harry Potter collection. And then I don't use toilet paper, so I just have this here for my toilet paper, so it's just easy grab and go. And then this side is all dedicated to basically the DIY van. It's all tools and different things that I need for on-the-go fixing and just I don't know. I do a lot of, like, I'll park and just decide to change something really quickly or instantly. This is where I normally eat, like, most of my meals. Like, I'll put up my phone, like, or my speaker, or like a book on like a page holder, and this is where I'll eat. And for a while, this is where I cook as well. Like, I'll chop my vegetables and then just turn around and chuck them into my pot. Not sitting, obviously, standing. But I just find it has really good flow. That's why I'm really excited for that cart, because I can kind of pull it up. Right over here, it's got wheels on it, and I can kind of gain some extra space as well. Mm-hmm. If I had to sum up, what would my personal philosophy on life be? Live minimally. I think we have to remember that this earth isn't just mine. It's not just yours. We're a tiny speck on a tiny chunk of land, and in a a giant world. Sorry, I said that backwards. But in the grand scheme of the things, like, we really do have to be aware of our impact, right? Like, there's a giant chunk of garbage the size of Texas floating in the ocean, and I think about that on a quite regular basis, right? I think about the different necessities that they had in Guatemala and that they didn't have, and how happy they were. I think about that all the time, and that kind of, that's kind of what I've realized. That's what's important in life, right? Like, we need to figure out plastic, man, because that's a problem. I'll tell you what, this was my genius idea. I actually put this on my over my license plate. When I take photos, I'm doing this thing right now where I'm taking a photo every day in front of my van in, like, the same pose, and at the end of the year I'm going to clip them all together, like, really fast, so people can see kind of, like, where do I park on an average basis, right? I always be moving with the letter B, not the actual word.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend. Also, if you want to watch more alternative dwellings, we got a playlist popping up right here, and we release new episodes every single Sunday, so consider subscribing.